Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. This pattern is using scraps. Most of them are 4.5 inches by 2.5. I'm also using some 4.5 inch squares because I have them on hand. And then there will also be an assortment of 2.5 squares. And just to show you again, these are potato chips, which are 2.5 by 4.5. So to start off, we're going to take a square, or you can sub that out for 2 potato chips and join them together with a 1/4 inch seam in the center, and then pressing them so that they equal a 4.5 inch square. And we're going to join it with a darker 2.5, 4.5 on top. We will need 4 units that look like this, so let me go ahead and do that. And now that those are done, then we'll make 2 units that look like this. So we have background, we have a darker, and then we have what I'd like to call a medium or a mid-tone. And these are all the potato chips, which are 2.5 by 4.5. So we'll make one set here and another set here, and then I'll show you what they look like. So the next block on the top row will have a medium. This is 2.5 inches square, another potato chip in your background, a lighter one, a dark potato chip, a mid-tone, and another dark, and we'll sew them in this order. We'll also be doing another one that looks similar, but it's a mirror image, and it'll be going on the bottom, but I'll show you when we get there. So for now, I will piece these together here. Then these will be done separately like that, and then they'll be joined together there. So let me get that done. Just showing you on this block on the top, you may want to flip it to go to the other side. If you do, press to the side versus open so that you can get a nice nesting going on here. That's where those two intersect. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. And here is the bottom block. So you'll notice that it is opposite to what we just put together. And again, you have your potato chips going along the top here, another one here, and then a 2.5 inch square. So let me assemble this and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is the top section of the block. I'm sorry if I'm misleading by calling it a row. It is a very, very large block. It'll be 22 inches when it's finished. So I am doing it, let's call it in rows or sections to put it together. So this is the very top portion, and you saw us make these individual smaller blocks. So this is the sequence that they will be going together. Please adjust any seam pressing that you have so that they nest. Like these two right now are going the same way. So one of them I'm going to force to go the other way. These two ends here do not have seams to worry about, so they can stay the way they are. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then the lower one is basically a mirror image, so I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll show you what they look like. And this is the lower section. So it is opposite to the other because the other top, it has the white or the light facing up, and this has it all facing down. So again, I'm going to go ahead and join these together and press them, and then I'll show you how the center part comes together. Okay, so now we're to the center section, and what I have are two that are opposites to each other. This is on the left, this will go on the right, and then there'll be a centerpiece that we'll do in a little bit. So again, we're using 4 potato chips of varying color and one 2.5 inch square to make each one of these sections. And what I've chosen to do is, you'll see it in the final design, is these are my lighter, these are the mid-tone, and then these are the darker. So let me go ahead and assemble those, and then I'll show you the center part, and then we're almost done. Okay, so now that the other units that go into this block have been sewn together, this is the very center. And you can do this one of two ways. One is to do it the way it's laid out, where you have a partial seam. So what you would do is sew down to about there, flip this over, and then sew this once these are all joined together, and then you could continue sewing it together like that. Or if that makes you nervous, you could replace these. And sorry, these aren't the right size, but just to show you, if envision that's a 2.5-inch square. So you could piece it like this. So you would join those together, these together, and then join that. And then you would actually end up having to create this as a 2.5-inch squares as well, and then do it in sections going along like that. But I'm pretty confident that I can do it as a flipped seam or partial seam, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll just take pictures as I go along to show you what I'm doing. So I've made my first seam here, and I've stopped fat finger from the end, so about 1/2 inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press this like this. Keep in mind that this is still open down here, and then I will join these two together, and then I will add this to the end, and then we can put this guy in. So let me take care of that, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So this seam is now done, so I will press it that way up, and then I will add this to the side like that, and then I'll press it open, and then we have our final seam to make. So I'm just showing you because I have the other part of the unit all sewn together. I can flip this out of the way, make sure this is opened up, and then I can join this piece here, and it'll fit nicely. And then I'll press that, and then this final seam can be done. So I've got the center block done now, and I'd really encourage you to try doing this partial seam if you haven't done one before. This is where I started and stopped to finish off this one section. It does lay really flat, and it just has a nice way of finishing off. So now we'll start assembling the units together to form this big block. So this is how the center section will look when you've laid it out. So you have the lighters on the ends, the center, which we just did. So I'll join them with a 1/4-inch seam here and here, and then we'll have the top and the bottom sections, and then you'll see what it looks like. So here's the top here, and this is the center, which we just put together. So we'll do right sides together and join them with a 1/4-inch seam. The only critical seam really you need to worry about is where the dark is intersecting here. Pinning it will work a lot to keep it straight. So I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll show you what comes next. And then I'm about to put the bottom section on. I'm going, something just doesn't look right here. So this is reversed. So the lighter needs to be over here, and this darker needs to be here. So it looks like I have a little date with my Jack, good friend Jack here. So let me correct that, and then we will join this together here, and then I'll show you what comes next. Okay, here's the finished block. I'm going to add a black border around it, which is all a mixture of potato chips, 20 of them to be exact. You'll see on the side I have extra strips and scraps left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another block. I don't have enough fabric to make it identical to this one, but I'll make it close in color theme. And then I have another block to add to this, which will come out in the next video. My plan is to quilt as you go with all 4 blocks to make it into a nice cozy blanket. So if you'd like to stick around and see how this turns out, I'd really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all your support. So please like, share, subscribe, and keep your comments coming. So until next time, sew safely and sew with Debee. Have a great day. Bye for now.